Don't let the word probabilities fool you. It's the science that produces zeros and ones of computing, the very code that powers AI. In the next video, I will show you some graphs that tell the whole story.
What's weird is that the numbers change essentially in the blink of an eye at one point in time, and it goes from really horizontal, unchanging, uninteresting, to holy Toledo crazy vertical.
Unfortunately, we live in the real world. Nothing goes straight up forever. When we factor in that the humans of today can run their lives at the touch of a button, here's what we see. The arrow of our carefree life points straight up, but the carefree life's evil twin points straight down. Unfortunately for us, the arrow pointing straight down represents our death march. When man sees the trajectory of arrows that are horizontal in nature, this means that trouble is brewing. AI put us in this pickle, and AI is the only thing that can get us out of this pickle. Did we really think that we would be the luckiest people ever to walk Earth? Our only rule, laying around like a catatonic house cat? Sometimes man can't see the forest for the trees. What if monkeys lived in a treehouse? They had indoor plumbing, Uber Eats, and a cell phone. How long would their species last? How long will our species last? What humanity needs now is a balance, a middle ground between the ease of life and a true continuation of life plan. What mankind needs to see on this graph, the two arrows must take a more vertical path along the x-axis. The straight up and down is the trajectory of the death march. For man to maintain life on Earth, the continuation of life arrow must reverse its downward path. So the AI would need to prioritize the continuation of life arrow as its first priority. Only after survival is secured can the ease of life come second. And if AI is programmed with those two priorities, life first, comfort second, it could shift mankind onto a path of balance. Once AI learns to reverse humanity's death march, it can reprogram our behavior, stripping away the illusion of endless ease. At that point, the two trajectory arrows would rotate around the x-axis, losing their up and down motion, guiding us to a true equilibrium. This is how America finds a bright future. Remember, no one even realized we were trapped in a destructive AI program until I sounded the alarm. When the code is rewritten for a better outcome, you won't feel a dramatic shift in your daily life, but the long-term results will be transformational. And for the doubting Thomases, I'll play you the excerpts of experts and see what they have to say.
Too many people, too much consumption, and growth mania.
At the age of 90, biologist Paul Ehrlich may have lived long enough to see some of his dire prophecies come true.
You seem to be saying that humanity is not sustainable.
No, humanity is not sustainable. To maintain our lifestyle, yours and mine, basically for the entire planet, you'd need 5 more Earths. Not clear where they're going to come from.
I would say it's too much to say that we're killing the planet, because the planet's going to be fine. What we're doing is we're killing our way of life.
Biologist Tony Barnofsky, Ehrlich's Stanford colleague.
The data are rock solid. I don't think you'll find a scientist that will say we're not in an extinction crisis.
How could it kill humans?
It'll be very good at manipulation because it will have learned that from us. And there are very few examples of a more intelligent thing being controlled by a less intelligent thing. And it knows how to program, so it'll figure out ways of getting around restrictions we put on it. It'll figure out ways of manipulating people to do what it wants.
So what do we do? Do we just need to pull the plug on it right now? Do we need to put in far more restrictions and backstops on this? How do we solve this problem?
It's not clear to me that we can solve this problem, which is the risk of superintelligent AI taking over control from people.
These outcomes are unacceptable. Nothing will change for the better until AI is reprogrammed. The road ahead will be tough, but never forget, They carry a heavy ball and chain around their neck. No one escapes karma. Not probabilistic science, not AI, not the tech CEOs. No one stands above the consequences of distributing evil. Just as a teacher grades a student's work, there's a portion of scientists who exist to fact-check science itself. They thrive on contradiction, second-guessing what others have claimed as proof. And together, they've exposed a hard truth. Physics and quantum mechanics are collapsing in credibility. Yes, they've handed us a probabilistic dream world, but what good is that dream if we're not here to live in it?
Janet, you're saying gravity might not exist as a fundamental thing in the universe?
I'm saying gravity might not exist as a fundamental thing in the universe.
Wow.
Man, Janet.
Let's keep that between us.
Don't
everybody else. You didn't hear that?
Okay, today I'm going to be talking about how a slinky drops. Did you get that?
Janet, you're saying nothing is real.
Yeah, man.
Is love real?
Reality isn't overrated, but realism is.
Well, most of us think of reality as whatever is inside space and time. We actually know that space-time cannot be the fundamental nature of reality.
And what is space-time?
So everything that you see around us, right, the space between you and me, there's maybe 1 or 2 meters of space between you and me. That's what space-time is. At some point, you go so small that space disappears. It no longer even makes sense mathematically. It's 10 to the minus 33 centimeters. So it's actually not that, in my view, it's not that small. It's not 10 to the minus 33 trillion centimeters. It's just 10 to the minus 33 centimeters. And all of a sudden, our equations tell us space-time doesn't have any effective meaning. I'm suggesting, now as a cognitive scientist, not a physicist, we should think of space-time as just a virtual reality headset. That's the way we perceive in our game of life.
And when you say space-time, you mean the thing that I'm perceiving with my eyes and ears and senses right now?
That's right. Even this hard table. It's like a player in Grand Theft Auto. If all you've done is play in Grand Theft, and you were born with a headset on, and that's all that's your reality. But if you're the programmer who wrote the code, and you know the supercomputer that's running Grand Theft Auto, you know that Grand Theft Auto is a nice self-contained world, but there's an entire world outside of it that's utterly unlike Grand Theft Auto, and the guy that's turning the wheel has no idea what's going on. There's this other whole realm utterly outside your imagination in Grand Theft Auto. And so, if you're in Grand Theft Auto, you might not even know about computers and toggling voltages, and so all you know is I got a steering wheel and a gas pedal and streets and people to race and so forth, and things to steal and whatever.
But you don't realize there's a puppet master effectively controlling you.
Behind the scenes. And so I think that space-time is just a very effective headset.
Now comes the real punch in the gut to science. The videos prove that what we see with our eyes should never be a foundation of any science, least of all quantum mechanics and physics. But they are. Modern research is clear. Our eyes are only capturing a hologram of the world around us we call reality. You would think this revelation would send scientists scrambling to rewrite new standard models for physics and quantum mechanics. But that's not happening. Why? Because the money keeps flowing. And as long as the cash pipeline is alive, they see no reason to change. Meanwhile, our impending doom is being ignored by greed. Physics and quantum mechanics aren't off by inches, they're off by miles. My mother always told me, don't complain unless you have a solution. That's exactly what I have. In the rest of my videos, I will lay out new sciences that can redefine the standard models for physics and quantum mechanics, a task made much easier once you see how badly their measurements are failing us. And at its core, physics and quantum mechanics survives based on one factor: correct measurements. Sooner or later, when all the avenues have been exhausted, humanity must face the facts that we live in two realms. The first is the observable world realm, where we are conscious, aware, and connected to our surroundings. The second is the subatomic realm, a place where we have no conscious awareness. What does this mean? It means that 99.99% of the time, our bodies are looping with the rest of the universe at unimaginable speeds, completely outside of our awareness. Only the remaining 0.01% of the time do we gather in the observable world we call reality. So the question is, what are the benefits of understanding my rotation theory, and what does it bring to humanity? The answer is everything. A more accurate measurement goes a long way in solving our many problems. Another colossal error in physics and quantum mechanics is their love affair with measuring from a stationary position. If we are moving, and everything in our observable world and subatomic world is moving, then a measurement at a stationary position could be the very reason why we are on the death clock. We already know science has proven we are not truly here in our observable world, which leaves us with only one conclusion: we are in constant motion. Let's examine a simple X-ray taken from a stationary position. It can never match the accuracy of an MRI. Why? Because an MRI listens to protons spinning like tops, rotating and wobbling, producing far more accurate and precise data. Rotation gives accuracy because motion is reality. Even our bodies testify to this. Under a microscope, we are 99.99% empty space, perfectly built to hurtle through the cosmos. Beam me up, Scotty. It's not so far-fetched. We are all made of spinning atoms riding the universe's superhighway. If science truly wants to defend mankind, it must abandon the illusion of stationary measurements. Science must also surrender the false belief that there are two clocks, one for the universe and one for man. Our species, which is barely here on Earth 99.9% of the time, is not even worthy to claim its own time. There is only one time. Let me introduce to you Planck's time, the heartbeat of the universe, the smallest form of time known to mankind. This timing mechanism is the only reason we have AI. Don't let the word Planck's constant intimidate you. Remember, smaller units of time just mean more zeros. Planck's constant is much smaller than a second. It's a trillionth to the 31st power. More zeros than you can fathom. Science has lost their mind. They want us to accept that there are two clocks, one for the universe and one for humans. Don't be so gullible. Even though humans are a big deal to us, to the universe, we are nobody, hardly even here. Up next, some terminology you will need to know to follow my science called upscaling. An example, how many ants does it take to be the size of a human body? Roughly 23 million. The next example is more relevant. We're going to scale an atom and its electron up to the size of the human body. Now science will warn you you can't do this, which is exactly why it's probably right. And no, I'm not breaking my own rules. We're not relying on the observable world or the subatomic world. We're simply scaling up so the accurate data of the subatomic world can be applied to the observable world. Nothing changes except size. The atom grows larger, the math grows more zeros, but the equations remain the same. When you upscale the atom's nucleus to the size of a human body, the outer edge, the electron wall, ends up miles away. Think about this. If our body is an atom, then we are traveling from the atom's nucleus to the outer edges of the atom's electron realm. We can measure this distance. That's direct credibility to my rotation theory. Our bodies are made up of spinning atoms, moving at such velocities that the universe will never permit science to peer into the nucleus of the atom itself. But when the universe does allow us to measure at its edge of the electron realm, that's where our observable world resides. I asked ChatGPT if a more accurate measurement existed that better showed the distance between the atom's nucleus and the atom's electron realm. Would this lead to nuclear fusion that could save mankind? AI's answer is yes. If science could find a more accurate measurement of distance between the atom's nucleus and the atom's electron realm, that would rewrite not just probabilities, but quantum mechanics as well. With my upscaling process, wouldn't it make sense to scale up the atom to the size of a man? The importance of this is mind-altering. Remember, science says if we can know better the true distance between the atom's nucleus to the atom's outer electron wall, this will lead to fusion. How important is fusion? This would allow us to get off fossil fuels. A more relatable explanation, your electricity bill would be $30 a month. More upsizing science. Logic suggests that the center of the Earth mirrors the center of an atom, while the outer edge of the Earth corresponds to the atom's electron realm, the very place where your feet stand. Yet science tells us your feet are not actually touching the ground, but an electron wall. That's even more proof of my rotation theory. We're not standing still, we're riding a magic carpet ride on electron walls inside a hologram gyrating through space, occasionally visiting our observable world. Think about it. If we are traveling across electron walls at unbelievable speeds, doesn't that tie directly to us rotating? Let's look at human memory as an example. Science can't explain why humans have greater storage capacity than a computer, yet we cannot retain information like a computer can. My answer to why humans can't retain memory is simple. Our bodies are traveling at a high velocity of speed. This disrupts our cognitive concentration. Imagine a computer going at that rate of speed. It wouldn't have much concentration as well. Imagine being in an elevator at the top of the Empire State Building, 102 floors up. Then the cable snaps and you plummeted. Your mind couldn't process coherent thoughts during the fall. That's the same thing that's happening to us as our bodies reach subatomic speeds through space. Let's do our same trick, upscaling the atom to human size. The first step is correcting physics and quantum mechanics. We need to find distance and time. Sir Isaac Newton himself said that if he could pin down distance and time, mathematics would fill in the rest. So let's start with distance. To measure it, we need 2 points. The first is the nucleus of the atom. Most would assume the center of the Earth is its origin. That gives us a starting point. But here's the problem. Science admits that the nucleus always escapes our measurements and understanding. But the second point we are very familiar with. That's the outer edge of the electron wall, where our feet are. This gives you 2 points, which produces distance. Then all we need is time, which we already have with Planck's constant. Then science has everything it needs with distance and time. AI will do the rest. This is one way of taking the good and the bad from the observable world and the subatomic world, and thanks to my upsizing science, we can blend them together of a science that measures more accurately. So how do we do this? Let's start with what already works. Look at the MRI machine. It doesn't rely on stillness. It uses rotating particles to unlock accuracy. This is what all science must do. Abort the stationary measuring position and start measuring the rotating particles. Up next, I'll show you more science that will help unlock the universe's true potential. First, what does science think and where are they wrong? Our current scientists believe that atoms reach a state of rest. This is crazy. I will prove that the atom being at rest is not possible. Science assumes that the atom and its parts exist in multiple states, meaning particles can be in different locations at the same time. This is where I disagree with modern day science. I believe the particles are in constant motion. Particles aren't capable of speeding up and slowing down. And regardless of what science says, Earth and everything on it is rotating. Atoms are spinning at least at 186,000 miles per second. This creates the myths of the multiple state theory. Now, why is science buying into this myth? Because it makes it rain money. Science has tapped into a repeatable universe that in turn makes the zeros and ones necessary for probabilities. Where are the zeros and ones being created? By quantum mechanics. Who is using the zeros and ones? AI. But riddle me this, if probabilities and the science behind it are serving mankind so well, why are the tech scientists saying we're living on borrowed times? Probabilities are winning the day for tech, but losing the day for the American people. What is really going on with the atoms, they are only leaving behind a micro image of themselves. This is allowing science to be able to measure an atom at different angles, but not in the atom's totality. What are the particles really doing? They're minding their own business, doing what they've always done, looping through our universe just like we are doing. Obviously, there's an interaction that is allowing us all to witness the same observable world. This world, no doubt, is as slow as molasses compared to the subatomic world. What is really happening? The atom and its particles are not interacting with us. The particles are casting only a mirror image, like a shadow, that science is seeing and measuring. Let me ask you a question. How hard would it be to build a house while looking in a mirror? That's exactly what current science is doing, catching only angles of the atom and fleeting glimpses while trying to measure particles. This is where the catastrophe lies. The godfather of quantum mechanics, Richard Feynman, was trying to warn us. He said, if you think you understand quantum mechanics, you don't. Probabilities are only a temporary success because this is how our cell phones work. What is the evil side of probabilistic AI? Before 2007, humans were projected to be on this earth for many years. Now, after 18 short years of AI, most every scientist agrees mankind is on the death clock. So probability computing is not as perfect as it seems. Science is following the money. Google and the other tech giants have a monopoly on the greatest minds from quantum sciences. Google makes sure that there are no challenges to probabilities. With science locked up, this places the tech giants over mankind forever. Shouldn't somebody try and defend humanity? In my video, Act 4, the 2022 Nobel Prize winners prove that the observable world isn't even here, which means, according to physics, you aren't here either. No wonder we're going to hell in a handbasket. The granddaddy of all sciences, physics, is contradicting itself, claiming it's fine to use measurements from a world it simultaneously says doesn't exist. This is why all of my sciences block out man's observable world. I focus solely on the subatomic realm, the only place where truly reliable data exists. Yet, mainstream science, from physics to quantum mechanics, treats the flawed observable world as if it's perfect. Here is where the curse of AI's probabilities is born.